Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, today we have one of the most biggest inspirations of mine to ever exist in the world. A guy that is likes to stir the pot. He likes to cause drama. He's famous for having one of the biggest entertainment blogs in all of blogging history. The guy was an internet icon and still is, but he was at the forefront of this internet boom. With all that said, I want to welcome on the one, the only Perez Hilton. Perez, how you doing this evening?
I'm well. Thanks for having me on.
Okay, Praise, you're probably like, who is this crazy guy? Why has this guy been bugging me? Why does he want me on the show? But I'm a Howard Stern nut, so like I love Howard Stern, and just became such an iconic figure on that show. And I think one of the most famous things is with Benji Bronk, you gave him the finger, which that was very kind of you. That was nice. So tell us a little bit about how has Howard Stern helped your career, Chris? Because I know you're already famous by the time you got on his radar, but did Howard hurt or help you? Because now he's not as popular as he once was.
Well, I think Howard has perhaps alienated some of his core audience by really changing the content of his show. For example, there's been this unspoken edict where they really only want like A-list stars on now, which is why I think I haven't been on in forever. I honestly am butthurt and disappointed and upset that I understand they're busy, they book up in advance, but I released a memoir in 2020 and I had an entire chapter dedicated to my infamous appearance on the Howard Stern show, and they wouldn't book me to promote that. So
Perez, wait,
Howard,
shut up! You're telling me they screwed you after what you did with Benji Bronk?
yeah.
You
So
literally. What? See, F Howard then. I'm the biggest diehard Howard Stern fan ever, but he sucks. And it's not even just politics because, like, people like to say, oh, I'm super right. I'm really more in the middle, but it's not even his politics. It's stuff like that. Like, you're a guy that sacrificed your finger, your stinky hand, for Benji Bronk, who stinks, and then they can't even let you come on. So did the memoir sell well? I mean, we know you would have got a bump with Howard, but I'm sure the book was still successful without Howard, I hope.
yeah, no, I people especially loved the audiobook, so you can get that at perezhiltonbook.com.
Okay, so Perez, tell us now. I know the blog is still hot though, but now you're a Vegasite. Now you're out running away to the desert. Tell us a little bit an update on what's going on with you because you were in LA and now you're in Las Vegas.
I think I like Vegasite. That's the first time I've heard that. The locals here call themselves Las Vegans,
Ooh.
which doesn't quite have the same ring to it, but that's okay. I also learned repeatedly that even if the majority of the people in this country call the state Nevada, locals get very upset if you call it that. It is properly pronounced Nevada, and they
Nevada.
will
They get
correct you.
mad. Yes, they get mad
Yeah,
about that.
they will correct you on that. Yeah, I moved here to Las Vegas 12 months ago now, and I'm so much happier. I did my time 20 years plus in Los Angeles, and I moved here to be happier, and I have been. And I actually think that Vegas is better for me as a parent. It's better for my kids. I don't want to like broadcast all my secrets, but the main reason I moved is because of LA traffic. God's honest truth. LA traffic was toxic and it just added so much stress and unhappiness to my life. And Las Vegas has traffic, but so much less compared to it to Las Vegas has traffic, but so much less compared to Los Angeles. And it's also a smaller city, so even with traffic, it's so much quicker to get around. And that just adds time and happiness and just I love it here. And I also think there's more to do here. Like towards the end of my run in Los Angeles, I was a little bored. Now, like there's constantly new things and this and that and the other. I'm the biggest cheerleader for Las Vegas.
Well, we got time to bash LA, but before I want to get into that, I want to ask you some personal stuff. So, Harvey Levin said you were famous for hanging out at the coffee shops on Sunset and Santa Monica. And what you might not know this about me, I work here at the Blaze. Glenn Beck owns this big network here, And I'm famous because I went up to AOC on the Capitol steps and I said that you're my favorite big booty Latina. And she got mad. I was complimenting her booty. I love it. I love big booty Latinas. Let's be real. She got mad. She made all these Instagram stories and then made me this villain. And I became ipso facto famous, infamous, whatever you want to call it. But people don't realize is I had to go on the Capitol steps, and I've confronted lots of politicians. I'd have to sit out there for 4 or 5 hours in the hot sun. People don't realize with my cell phone in a corner, killing time. So, and then I confronted her. And now I make lots of money and this and that. I opened up a lot of doors. So tell the people, what was your struggle before you became Perez Hilton? How did you have to grind? What were some of the tricks of the trade that you did that put you on the map?
I mean, even after I became Perez Hilton, I still had to struggle and grind. And I was so, it's a combination of being poor and also not being the most handy. So when I was living in Los Angeles, I moved into this new apartment and they wanted to charge me a lot more money to send out this technician to set up my Wi-Fi. And I'm like, that's the first time that I've ever experienced. Don't you guys just set up the Wi-Fi for everybody? They're like, no, you have to pay extra. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go to the Coffee Bean down the street and use their Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
And I did that for almost 2 years because it literally was walking down the street. And I was, this was the very beginning of my career, but I was already getting a lot of attention and calling into radio shows here and doing this and that and the other. So I would start my days very early. I would grind so hard that I would get to the Coffee Bean hours before they would open. And thinking back on it now, it was a little bit crazy.
Little bit.
Because I'm sitting out there. It was on Sunset Boulevard and Fairfax, and there could have been dangerous things happening there at 4:30 in the morning or 5 in the morning. But I was young and naive, and I would just go there and do my work. And thankfully, nobody robbed me or stole my laptop, and nothing bad ever happened. And I really say this with the most gratitude and sincerity. I think that my job saved me. It gave me purpose in life. And I also believe that my upbringing, being the son of 2 Cuban immigrants, instilled in me this unhealthy work ethic. 20 years later, I still grind so hard. I still work and hustle because honestly, I have to. I got 3 kids. I don't have FU money in the bank. Thankfully, I'm able to support us, but I'm not like Paris Hilton who licenses her name for this or that or the other. But I wake up every morning still 20 years later, so happy and so grateful.
Well, and let's talk about this. I don't want to get too much into California because I want to ask you a couple of political questions towards the end because we only have a little bit longer. But the California that I remember, and I lived there for 2 years, was like an episode of The Hills. Now, obviously, LA has always been a little rough, but in 2001, 2002, LA was idyllic, was awesome, was the coolest place on TV. And now, in your opinion, what has Los Angeles, California turned into? GTA 6? That's what I like to describe it as.
I actually consider myself a centrist as well, and I love that in Vegas, I don't know, people just don't even talk as much politics. Like I am post-political. I feel like I obviously still care, but I'm grateful that I'm not as invested or attached as I was previously. And the biggest change, honestly, is people keep having to move further and further out. For the majority, I moved to have a better quality of life. But when I first went to Los Angeles in 2002, it was pretty affordable for a normal person moving there. But now, like the average price to buy a home is so expensive, and gas and like everything is just so costly. That's why people keep moving further out into the suburbs or just moving away. And I'm a centrist. Like shortly before moving to Vegas, this was still in 2023. My mother had to have a medical procedure, and they would not let me accompany her. It was 2023. Like you're still doing these insane Like, I'll wear a mask if you want me to, but they just wouldn't even allow me to be in there. Like, I couldn't even wait in the waiting room. It was just for patients. Like, I had to leave and then come and pick her up. Like, things like that. It's like, somebody was talking recently about common sense. Like, America just needs more common sense, more sensibility. And Los Angeles and a lot of the US has just moved so far away from that. And that's really frustrating to me.
No, it really has. Okay, so now I want to ask you the hard questions, and you're going to say, "Oh, what is this?" Everybody's in the right wing conservative world says that Michelle Obama's a boy, and Joan Rivers said that. So I don't know if that's true or not. I'm saying you've heard that rumor, but this is the rumor that I like. Well, I don't like it, but they say that they're all on Jeffrey Epstein's plane, and you know every celebrity, Chris Rock. I mean, not Chris Rock, Chris Tucker. What do you think about those elite people going on airplanes in Epstein's Island? As a person that's dialed into Hollywood with Harvey Weinstein, do you believe that that's a conspiracy, or do you think that these people would really do something like that and hurt children?
I think it's sad that people view this as entertainment
Yeah.
because I think of the victims.
Hmm.
I don't view all of that like, ooh, 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 ooh. And that's, you know what, most political coverage is these days and the
Yeah.
people that consume it. It's the flip side of the coin of entertainment. It's the same thing. And people, if that's how you get your rocks off, then great. I don't view that as entertainment. I'm not here obsessing over this or that. Obviously a lot of people went there and were affiliated with that person, but my thoughts and empathy are with the victims that are still here. And some of them have made themselves public, and some of them have chosen to remain private. And I think that's what the focus should be on, personally.
Yeah, I know the victims. I agree. Okay, last tough question. You're dialed in with Hollywood. What have you heard about my favorite first son, Hunter Biden, who I personally like? If Hunter Biden invited me over for a barbecue and we had some strippers and some blow, I would be hanging out with Hunter Biden. But have you heard any of his weird connections with Hollywood? Knowing that I think he lives in West Hollywood. What have you ever heard about Hunter Biden?
I have a lot of empathy for that man. It's clear that he, for decades, has struggled with
Hmm.
serious addiction issues. And I hope that he gets better. Addicts make a lot of mistakes.
Hmm.
Has he made a lot of mistakes? Absolutely.
Yeah.
Even people that are not addicts make a lot of mistakes. So I wish him a sober and healthy life.
Well, I want him to still party. I love Hunter Biden. We need somebody in the White House having some fun. Okay, so now tell us, before I let you go, what is on the horizon? I know you're doing a daily show. I know you're still blogging like crazy. Your website, you're always updating it. But I mean, now you're in Vegas. You got the kids. I mean, are you becoming the housewife? Perez the housewife now? I mean, what? I'm just saying, like, are you the stay-at-home mom, dad? What is the new Perez Hilton 2.0 for the audience that wants to know?
Well, I still say everything that's on my mind, and that still upsets people because there's a lot of folks out there that have um, become confused with the concept of bullying.
Yeah.
There are a large number of people who think that a critical opinion expressed publicly is bullying. And I disagree. Calling somebody degrading names and really going hard or commenting on their appearance and this and that and the other, certain things do cross the line and are bullying, but saying, you know what, Ariana Grande released a new song and I don't like it, that's not freaking bullying. That's just expressing my opinion. So I will always express my opinion, and especially on my podcast, which I love because I have a co host who's very different from me, and we talk all things pop culture. It's like my safe bubble where I can really go there. So perezpodcast.com. If you enjoyed me here, you can get more of me there.
And we'll put a link to it. And you know this more than anybody. People love confrontation. People want drama and
Well, I
confrontation.
have drama with my co-host every freaking episode. He calls me stupid all every show, and I'm like, well, no, you're the stupid one.
Okay.
Like, here's a great example. Like, we literally could not disagree more on this. We were having a conversation, and I don't even know why, but we were talking about Taylor Swift versus Britney Spears and who is or was bigger, Taylor Swift now versus Britney Spears at her peak.
Taylor Swift
And I
now. Taylor Swift now. But Britney
that's
was
what
huge, but it's Taylor Swift now.
yes,
Yes.
that's what I said, but my co-host disagrees and says that Britney at her peak was bigger than Taylor is
What
now,
about
and I
this
said he's
one?
wrong.
Michael at his peak or Taylor at her peak?
I would say Michael
Because there is
Jackson,
less
just
digital
because
media. Oh, and this is my favorite conspiracy. I'm sorry, I'm cutting you off. I think Michael Jackson was innocent. You know, he was investigated for 19 years by the FBI, and James Safechuck and Wade Robinson. Wade Robinson testified on his behalf twice in front of California's top state prosecutor and said that he was never touched by California's top state prosecutor. And then on top of that, James Safechuck said that he was touched in the train station. The architect that drew those plans had not even written the plans up. So there's something weird there. Now with Jordy Chandler, the first person he paid off, Cochran wanted to fight it. They paid it off to make it go away, but then that kid's dad, who was a stepdad, committed suicide shortly thereafter. So I'm a free innocent. I'm a Michael Jackson truther. I don't think that he ever touched a kid. He got investigated for 19 years, and they never found one bit of pedophilia.
I'm too much of a pragmatist to believe that he's innocent. You know,
Yeah,
even those that were let me explain it to you this way.
yeah.
Even those that testified defending Michael Jackson
Mm-hmm.
confessed or revealed in court that he would have sleepovers with
Yeah.
these young boys.
Yes, he would.
They said nothing happened, but they would share a bed. That's with strangers.
That
with
is
people that are
weird,
not.
Perez. But that is weird.
Yeah,
But he had Arrested Development as a kid. When you're 5
I
years
don't
old,
care.
you don't care. You don't think that he would have? Do you don't think he was mentally stunted? That that he would like to hang out with a kid because
I know he
so.
might have been mentally stunted at 12 or 13, but I know sexually active 13-year-olds, like I was actually. Like I was curious and started exploring around 13
Did
or
you get
14.
groomed? Did you get groomed by somebody older?
No, with
Oh,
a classmate,
okay.
my same age.
Well, that happens. Everybody, that happens all the time. Well, Perez, thank you for coming on and being so candid. I hope, I know you're busy like crazy, and my live shows is same time as yours. But please stay in contact. Like I said, I go to Vegas all the time. Vegas Matt's my favorite. I'm tight with Vegas Matt. Did you ever watch his content?
I don't know him.
He's
I'll
the
have to check
best
him out.
slot. He's the best pro slot
Oh
player.
yeah.
He's got the best slot channel. And the last thing I want to say, Vegas Pauly C. I like his accent, but he's so squirmy too. Sometimes some of the stuff he says, and he's always with those mail order brides. What's the deal with Vegas Pauly C? Is he the real deal, or is he a jabroni, as they say? Is he a faker?
Well, I would say most everybody on social media is
Yeah,
fake.
true.
At least at the beginning of their careers, because they are cultivating this image and they also want to get certain reactions out of people. I've been doing this for 20 years. 20 years. I'm too exhausted to. If I would have pretended to be this, that, or the other, I would have been found out by now. I just don't have the energy to keep up an act anymore. So what you see is really what you get with me. But yeah, I believe in bounty and plentiful. I believe that there's room enough for every single person out there to succeed and win. And I'm still doing my thing 20 years later, and I wish everybody well.
Oh, and,
I don't necessarily like everybody,
yeah.
but I wish everybody well.
Okay, and then actually, last question. When Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift are dating, is that fake? Are their agents putting them up? Or are they actually in love, do you think, and they actually like each other? What do you think?
Well, I don't know if I would say they're in love, but I would say they're in like for sure, and
Yeah.
they're exploring that. I love the reinvention of Taylor Swift post her breakup with her long-term boyfriend Joe Alwyn, because she said, "You know what? Life is short." She's in her mid 30s now, and she doesn't care anymore what people think. For the longest time, she was hyper protective of that relationship and her image. And now she's just gotten to a point where she's even willing to take a hit. Like this last year in the summer before Travis Kelce, she dated this British musician, Maddie Healy, who had a very negative public perception. And she didn't care. She was aware of that and still gave that a go. And I love that. Life is short. Do what makes you happy, so long as you're not hurting yourself or hurting others.
Yeah, but Travis Kelce has CTE. She's a little too smart for him. She's gonna after in a couple months, she's gonna realize I'm a lot smarter than him. She's gonna need somebody intellectually at her level, I believe. But what do I know? All right, Perez, I know you got to go. You're the man. I hope we talk again soon. Keep up the great work. You are an icon in this digital media era, and I mean that. And you know what? F. Howard Stern. I'm gonna call them out publicly. They should have had your ass for finger banging. Benji, you can finger bang any of my interns or any of my producers if you're ever in Dallas. So you have the open invite, Perez.
Well, I'm going to have to finger bang you.
Why not? We might have to. We need clicks on the internet. We need to go viral. All right, Perez, have a good one, my friend.
I'm so fly, I'm aligned with the planes. My grind so refined, I got no time for no games. Ask yourself why.